Good morning. I'm so excited for the opportunity to share with you this morning, and I look forward to your feedback or any suggestions or comments that you may have. My name is Jana Westbrook. I'm a co-founder of Provider Pool. We're right here in T-Rex. And before I dive into all of the incredible things I think we're about to do in the healthcare industry, I want to share a story with you just to help you better understand the issue that we are facing within the healthcare industry and how Provider Pool has endeavored to create a viable solution. I'll need you to use your imagination with me for a moment. I want you to think about a recent natural disaster like Hurricane Florence, Hurricane Katrina. Imagine that you're there. Imagine that you're there right after the storm, limited access to resources. Your basic essential needs like food and water are difficult to obtain, right? And desperation drives a lot of your actions. Now imagine that you see someone standing on the corner with gallons of water for $100. You haven't had a drink in days, so you run to them overjoyed, and the closer you get, you see a sign that says, gallons of water, $100 each. It's unfair. If you have it, out of desperation, you might spend $100 for a gallon of water, but it's not fair. I'm gonna show you how I apply that same scenario to the healthcare industry now. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been in healthcare for about 10 years, most recently as a director of nursing in a skilled nursing facility. It is very difficult to staff hospitals, but even more difficult to staff long-term care. There's a stigma around geriatric nursing. And that was the most difficult part of my job, is adequately meeting staffing ratios. I worked for a company that would not allow agency. That's the most common solution, right? If I am a director of nursing and I need staff, I can contact a healthcare staffing agency. I call them up, I tell them what they need, what I need, and then they send me someone, right? I don't always know who's coming, but at least someone's coming to take care of my patients, right? The problem with the healthcare staffing agency is the expense. It is incredibly expensive. If I pay my nurses $40 an hour, I'm probably gonna pay a healthcare staffing agency $112 an hour for the same nurse for the same service. So imagine if I need multiple nurses or multiple CNAs or even a nurse practitioner, it can be extremely expensive. So expensive that the industry spent about $13 billion last year on healthcare staffing agencies alone. So what are my options? I've got 150 patients. I don't have enough people to take care of them. My corporate company will not spend money on a healthcare staffing agency because they are so expensive. There had to be a different solution. So I partnered with a few fellow nurses. Tiffany Davis and Terry Williams, we're all nurses. We got together and we came up with Provider Pool. Provider Pool is affordable, it is convenient, and it is efficient. So how it works is we collect healthcare professionals. They're each uploaded into Provider Pool with a headshot, pertinent documentation such as a certificate of malpractice insurance, maybe a resume or drug screen or things that make them look appealing to a facility, and also their cost per hour. So every healthcare professional has a profile with their cost per hour. Facilities are then able to log into Provider Pool. I'm not that tech savvy, let's see. It worked, okay. They're able to log in to Provider Pool after they request access. They can select the title that they need. Say they need an RN for their skilled nursing unit. They would select RN, choose the day and the time that they need. Maybe they have an open position this weekend, or someone going on vacation, or someone out on maternity leave, so they choose the day. They'll scroll through providers, so you'll get to see their individual costs per hour. That's me, hey. And they can book them. They can book them directly from the site. The awesome thing about Provider Pool is, number one, it's affordable. There is no markup. There is no cost to access Provider Pool. There's no subscription fee or recruitment fee. You simply pay Provider Pool $1 per hour. So if I log into Provider Pool, I see an RN, she charges $30. I'm gonna pay the $30 an hour for the nurse. And then if I book her for a 12-hour shift, I'm gonna pay Provider Pool $12. We also charge a 6% commission from the provider. But what I love about it, and why I would have loved this product when I was a director of nursing, is that I get to choose who's coming into my building. I know how much I'm spending, so I don't have to spend $13 million or even, a fraction of that on agency. And yeah, so that's it. I look forward to any suggestions that you have or questions. We're really, really excited. We started this about 3 months ago, actually. We moved here to T-Rex in September, and we've just been learning about business and the ecosystem. And I have a question. Yes?
Oh,
well, hold on.
Joe's got to give me a mic.
Oh, okay.
Don't have a loud voice. I'll just...
Oh, here we go.
Hold on, there we go. You please, so when we do questions, please use the mic so the camera can hear you.
So my question is, just because I didn't hear it, do you offer your services outside of medical facilities? Say my father needs a skilled nurse inside his house. Do you offer anything like that?
Well, the problem with that is nurses have to function under a physician. So you would have to have a medical director. That's why you would have to have maybe a home health agency or something of that sort. That would be out of my scope to come to your father's house. So no home health, just facilities, hospitals, long-term care, dialysis, any facility that would require a healthcare professional.
You mentioned.
It's on, just talk about it.
Okay. You mentioned that actually, as today, you don't know who is coming to your facility.
Yes.
From the. How come? Why don't they send you a page of a description about the nurse that is coming? And
Go ahead. So I can tell you my experience. I did work in one facility that used agency. Usually what happens is you call them and they go out and search. You might not know who's coming until 30 minutes before the shift starts.
So they don't ask you a permission who to send to?
Not necessarily. Once they've come, you can DNR them, do not return, if you hated them, but you don't always know who's coming. No. Now, if you're using a recruiter to recruit someone permanently, then yeah, you'll know. But if it's just for a shift, if you've had a call off or you need someone soon, you don't know who's coming.
Now, what about liability? Basically, I understand that the recruiter will take on himself the liability about who is a nurse, about the education and so on. Here, actually, it's open to everyone, and you have to judge it, and I think it's a lot of risk you are taking on yourself.
Great question. And so that was one of the first reservations that I had when I sat down with an administrator. They said the exact same thing, and so that's awesome that you said that. So we want to initiate a rating system, right? We do a licensure or a certification verification for everyone that we enter into Provider Pool. But how do you know that these are quality people coming to take care of your patients? So we want to implement a rating system where you can see what other facilities have said. They can base them, or they can rate them on their clinical competence, their professionalism, customer service, accountability, dependability, things like that.
But still, it's not enough.
You don't think it's enough? What would you suggest?
No, first of all, because a nurse is a licensed profession.
True.
You have to get a better background, a better license, to make a real good search about the individual before you send or you get the individual to take care about the patient. And this is something that... What
would you suggest that we do? We're more of a platform,
This
right?
is a problem that I have to think about, but it looks like that this is the main difference between the platform and the recruiter. Otherwise, every recruiter would have been able to do, create a platform of adding people and sell it to the outside. The question is, who takes the responsibility and the liability about the individual that is sent out? to the facility.
That's good. And I'm glad you said that. Now I've got to go do some research for sure. We are expected to be 1.2 million nurses short by 2020 and 90,000 physicians. I hate to call us desperate right now because that's scary, right? There's a chance that if I go to the hospital, there may not be enough people there to take care of me, and the directors may not know the people that are taking care of me. That's definitely an important concern. So I can't wait to research it and find out ways where we can make facilities feel more comfortable in recruiting our services. Yeah.
So what was your pathway to your first customer?
So we're building our pool right now. We're just building our pool of professionals. I want to be able to go to an administrator and say, I've got 1,000 healthcare professionals. I feel like that'll be an easier sell. Since we work in the industry already, we've made those connections. We've got, a ton of administrators, other directors, or company owners that are our friends. But we're planning our go-to-market strategy. I haven't identified every barrier to entry yet. But with it being no cost to access, we're hoping to onboard at least 5 facilities within the next 2 months.
But it will be strictly driven through personal connections.
Just for now. Just for now.
Oh, sorry, I have another question.
Yeah.
So your business plan, talking about the dollars.
Yeah.
I understand that each facility pays $1 per hour.
Right.
And that would be, as in your example, you had someone charging $30, so actually the hospital would be paying $31. Is that how?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the nurses who sign up, are they charged any amount of money?
Not to sign up, but we do collect 6% commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that this is a great model and a great idea that you could extrapolate to other verticals as well. But a question as far as 2 things. One, the payment system. Are these all 1099s?
Yes, they're all independent contractors.
And then how do you collect normally like PJC or you pay net 90 or net 30 to a staffing agency? Then are you payrolling these people or paying them up front and then collecting the money on the back end?
We'll have to initially, but eventually we'll invoice them. We will invoice Barnes maybe every 2 weeks or every 30 days, however, they will pay us. We'll take 6% plus their $1 and then we'll pay the provider.
Gotcha. And then as far as, obviously there's a lot of pre-screening and things like that just to be able to, that you obviously know with being in a facility, who's going to cover the cost of that, or are you going to pre-screen? Like if you were sending someone to BJC, they have a litany of tests and things that they have to pass before they go, and there's a cost associated with that. Will you allow your providers to say, hey, I've gone through and done that, and that, I have a gold star, so I'm available to start tomorrow, or?
Yeah, so we strongly encourage them to give us as much information about themselves that make them look appealing. So if they have a physical, TB test, flu shot, drug screen, anything like that, just to help them look appealing and to also help decrease the cost for us. Because right now it would cost maybe $150 to onboard someone, which isn't too bad when you talk about background checks and everything like that. One thing that I'm learning is that some larger facilities, they do their own background checks anyway. So that's one good thing for us. But we're still brainstorming everything, so I'm glad you brought that up. Tiffany, I hope you're taking notes so we can know what we need to go look into. But that is one thing that we consider for sure.
I'm curious, is there any automated way to figure out the demand generation side? So, like if they're short on a rota or a shift or something, you would kind of automatically get like, we need 6 people here for this day, for this location.
You mean we should be able to request more than one?
Do you currently get ad hoc requests, or does their scheduling system kind of like integrate with you to sort of create those positions?
I hope I answer this correctly. Each healthcare professional has their availability already in. So if I type November 13th through November 26th, everyone available during that time frame will pop up and I can just request them. Is that what you mean?
Sorry, I meant more on the hospital side. So they're the ones generating the demand, right?
Yes.
So would they have to call you ad hoc to say tomorrow we need someone at 6, or do they?
No. They just log in. They just log in.
Okay.
So they just log in. Once they have access, and like I said, it's free, they just log in and they can see everyone who's available during the time frame that they need. So they don't have to really contact us at all. They just log in, select the service, select the time frame, and book the person. Yes.
Coming from an advertising marketing side of view, at some point the word of mouth is going to start to obviously hit a barrier. How do you keep the cost low when billions of dollars every year goes into recruitment marketing? You're going to eventually have to get into that space to get enough of the nurses and the providers. How do you keep the cost low when that happens for not just the healthcare side, but so you don't have to increase that 6%?
Yeah, we're definitely looking into that because eventually everything will have to be automated. Eventually, we're onboarding, hundreds of professionals. We're trying to expand into other territories. So that's definitely something that we've taken into context. I'm not a marketing and salesperson. I'm glad that I have someone over that department. And if they were here, I would have him kind of elaborate more for you. But do you have any suggestions for us? You're in that space. So what would you suggest for us? We're a newer company, right? Right now we're only focusing on the St. Louis Metro East area. What would you say?
Well, in advertising marketing, keeping costs low, it's all scaling properly.
Yeah.
That's always something you have to look out for. And obviously, keeping the cost low on your internal side of your actual operations is something I can't speak to, but it's just at the end of the day about finding the right audience to market to, making sure you're not having any dollars go to waste. Obviously, in advertising, there's always going to be a little bit of a waste of dollars somewhere, but at the end of the day, if you just have a good marketing plan that targets the right people, the right amount of money, you have to find some sort of efficient level.
Sure.
I just didn't know if you rated that yet, if you created a strategy towards that.
You must want to help me. I'm just trying to
I'm learning more about the whole tech space. This is why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm new to the tech world and kind of this whole world, so I'm asking questions to learn.
Okay.
People, not to try to help you, unless you want it, but I don't know enough about the tech space yet to go there.
Yeah, when we first started this, we really wanted to make sure that this was going to be a validated idea anyway. We didn't want to just spend thousands of dollars on something that nobody really needed or wanted. So we did some research over the last few months, and we did a ton of interviews, a ton of cold calls, and just trying to make sure that this is something that was actually needed. I sat down with administrators, and the one facility who I'm hoping to bring on board, they're spending on average $350,000 a month on agency, and she was very, very, very excited. I thought I saw a hand. So I am excited. I hope to hyperscale, but we'll definitely need to look into that for sure.
How are you getting your professionals to join the pool right now?
So Tiffany does clinical recruitment, and we've been talking to schools. A lot of schools just partnering with nursing schools or healthcare professions, just so that it looks good for them. They can guarantee that their students have a job when they graduate. But right now we use a lot of online recruiting, online marketing, social media. We've joined just about every healthcare group there is on Facebook. There's a ton of, All Nurses Rock or St. Louis Nurses Rock, and they have hundreds of thousands of nurses. So that's kind of how we're recruiting right now, just to get our baseline pool, so we can just learn how this all works.
I was thinking about the Nursing Association, and there are other very professional organizations for healthcare professionals.
Yes.
Because those organizations can also provide people with insurance. So that adds to the nice thing about their profile, rather than having you guys or an agency provide the insurance and liability and all that other stuff that seems to be required. So how many do you have in your pool right now?
We have about 100. So we don't provide the insurance. We strongly suggest that they come with their own. Now we have partnerships with other insurance companies where they can get a discount and things like that. It's only about $189 a year for them to carry their own malpractice insurance. that has been a barrier for us. That's been difficult for us. Most nurses or nursing assistants or healthcare professionals outside of physicians, they don't carry their own malpractice insurance because they work for someone. They work for a company that provides it. So trying to get them to do that, that was something that we struggled with, making them understand why they needed it. You insure your house and your car, insure your license as well. So we thought about purchasing it for them and then making it payroll deductible. We've brainstormed many different avenues with the insurance, but that's been our biggest mountain, I should say, to climb.
You mentioned that you get $1 per hour.
Yeah.
In addition. So times 12, it will be $12.
Yeah.
Times 30, it will be 320.
Sure.
Now, you mentioned that there is a facility that pays 350, and so basically it looks like that it's the same amount of money that they would have paid to a recruiter and to you. Where is the difference between what you are suggesting?
I think I missed part. So if they're paying something very close to what they're paying their normal employees. So if I have a nurse and I pay her $40, I can find a nurse, if I have a nurse on my staff that I pay $40, I can find someone in provider pool for $40 or less and book them. I'm just going to pay $1 more. So it will be, it would look just like my regular staffing budget.
So you believe that the hourly rate through your platform would be lower than?
It could be. It could be. When we talk to our healthcare providers and they're choosing their salaries, we tell them if you put an incredible salary, you're not going to get requested by a facility. So they're very, very close.
So
very close.
So it becomes
It's also a marketplace for them. Actually, they change their prices according to the demand and need.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, got another question?
More like an idea on the question. I guess it's pretty cool. So great, well done for doing it.
Thank you.
I just wondered, metrics. Do you have metrics that agencies would never have? So things like you've mentioned feed ratings, right? We've mentioned ratings, but no shows, peer-to-peer reviews, and might sound crazy. What if patients reviewed nurses too? I don't know. Like, is this something that you think is different that an agency would never be able to provide to their client, the hospital, that you could, maybe?
They could offer this. They could offer this. I have not found a company that does. I have not found a healthcare staffing agency that is completely tech or that has this autonomy where you have your own say in how much you spend. Many agencies, they have these markups or they take a very large percentage. For example, I needed an MDS nurse very badly. An MDS nurse is the nurse that submits assessments to the government for Medicare, Medicaid payments. I can't have a facility without this nurse. I even flew to San Francisco to get the certification myself because I could not find one as a director of nursing. Corporate allowed me to have an MDS nurse for 6 weeks, and it was almost $30,000. So with the healthcare staffing agency, there's so much more that you pay for. Versus this you're just paying for the provider. That's it. You're giving us our $8 or $12 for the shift, but you're just paying the provider. And I don't think an agency can offer because they've got to make more money somewhere.
I love your platform. It's amazing. 3 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing what you've done in 3 months. I can't wait for a year later. I'm trying to find you on the internet.
Providerpool.org.
Provider. Okay, thanks.
I think the gentleman who was just sitting here actually hit on something. You actually could almost provide real-time pricing for nurses. Because you brought up the emergency, quote-unquote price gouging. But in the time of an emergency, that's what you actually want is high prices because it'll force a ton of nurses to come and say, wait a second, I can triple my salary for a couple, so you can actually drive more nurses in the time of a need or something like that, potentially. That's
like
something,
the holidays.
Yeah. Right. So maybe down the road, that is something you would want to get into, is to actually have kind of almost real-time pricing on your nurses and have them understand this might be something that, you have your base set, your base price, but you could also have, what does Uber call it? Your demand pricing.
So with the platform that we have now, we're not able to open up like a chat box. We want to bring on a developer where we can develop that. But we want them to be able to communicate back and forth. Maybe they get there and the hospital loves them and they want to keep them for a couple more hours or even a couple more days, and they want to rack up their prices. That's our main revenue stream, is that 6% commission. The $1 per hour is great, but that's not where we get the bulk of our revenue. It's the commission. So if they can communicate a higher wage, maybe it's Christmas, and they want to charge double, that's great because we'll collect 6% from that.
Right. I think down the road, this could be if you built this to be very intelligent internally, you could provide a lot more value on both ends.
Yeah, we wanted it to be a mutually beneficial relationship for the provider and for the facility.
It's usually Kristen that calls me out. What can the community do for you?
You help spread the word. Everybody knows a nurse. It seems like everybody knows a nurse, or everybody knows a CNA, or maybe even an educator within healthcare. Spread the word. Let them know. Our website is www.providerpool.org. We are recruiting. I guess that's about it. And any suggestions that you have, we're definitely open. We're so green, and we're open to this. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everything.
Okay. Thank you very much. So